Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Sri Vyasadeva. This morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, 8th chapter, which is called Manifestation of Brahma from Vishnu. And today we have text number 28, but there's no purport. So we will also read text 29, which has a small purport. Text 28 reads, Kranamba kinjalaka vishanga vasasa svalam kritam mikhalaya nitam de harina charanta thamina vatsa Srivatsa Vakshashtala Balabhena. Please repeat. Kradamba Kinjalka. Saffron dust of the Kandamba flower. Pishanga. Dress of the color. Vasasa. By clothing. Sualamkritam. Well decorated. Nekhalaya. By the belt. Nitambe. On the waist. Harina. By the garland. Cha. Also. Ananda. Highly. Tanina. Valuable. Vatsa. My dear Vidura. Srivatsa. Of the transcendental marking. Vakshashtala. On the chest. Balabhena. Very pleasing. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O my dear Vidura, the Lord's waist was covered with yellow cloth resembling the saffron dust of the Kandamba flower, and it was encircled by a well-decorated belt. His chest was decorated with the Srivats marking and a necklace of unlimited value. Text 29 reads, Paradhya Keyura Moni Pradeka Paryashta Durganda Sahasrashakam Bhagavamulam Bhuvanangri Pendram Ayendra Bhogaya Adivita Varsham. Please repeat. Praradra. Very valuable. Keyura. Ornaments. Mani Praveka. Highly valuable jewels. Paryasta. Disseminating. Dordanda. Arms. Sahasra Shakam. With thousands of branches. Avyaktamulam. Self-situated. Bhuvana. Universal. Ankripa. Trees. Indram. The Lord. Ahi Indra. Anantadev. Bhogai. By hoods. Adivita. Surrounded. Valsham. Shoulders. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As a sandalwood tree is decorated with fragrant flowers and branches, the Lord's body was decorated with valuable jewels and pearls. He was the self-situated tree, the Lord of all others in the universe, and as a sandalwood tree is covered with many snakes, so the Lord's body was also covered by the hoods of Ananta. The word Avyakta Mulam is very significant here. Generally, no one can see the roots of a tree. But as far as the Lord is concerned, He is the root of Himself, because there is no other separate cause of His standing but He Himself. In the Vedas, it is said that the Lord is Svashrayashraya, He is his own support, and there is no other support for him. Therefore, Avyakta means the Supreme Lord himself, and no one else. In Bhagavad Gita, in the 9th chapter, we find a very similar phrase to the one that is focused on here by Srila Prabhupada's word Avyakta Mula. Bhagavad Gita, Avyakta Murti is used, where Krishna says that this cosmic manifestation is pervaded by and supported by his Avyakta Murti. Jagat Avyakta Murti. So, this word Avyakta, first of all, Avyakta means unmanifest, or also inexplicable, beyond our perception, beyond our understanding. And Murti, Avyakta Murti, Murti means form. So Sri Krishna is saying that his form is the support, is the rest of the whole universe, where the universe takes shelter. And here, Avyakta Mula. So Mula means root. So it can also be understood in this way, that the cosmic manifestation's root or origin is in Krishna. But Krishna is Avyakta. He is beyond our perception, beyond our capacity of understanding by our limited mind and senses. So when one tries to trace out the origin of existence, the origin of cosmos, he comes to this Avyakta, this inexplicability. So philosophers and scientists and mental speculators of all varieties, they invariably, by their own brain power, come to some void or impersonal conclusion about the cause of everything, the final basis of everything. Of course, the Mayavadi philosophers, the traditional Mayavadi philosophers of India, we know that their conclusion is that the basis of everything is the impersonal Brahma. But today, in our Western culture, there are also a new kind of Mayavadi, who are the scientists. They also speculate. They use their own limited brain power to try to comprehend what is the origin and basis of everything. And they also come to an impersonal conclusion. In the astrophysics, the theories of the origin of the universe, they think that the universe suddenly popped out of something they call a singularity. Singularity simply means a point, an inconceivably small point, which contained all the stuff of the universe in it. So that means that it was inconceivably heavy, had inconceivable density, and is simply one impersonal thing. Beyond this point, there was no time, no space, there was no existence at all. Just this point. And then for some reason, out of this point, there popped this great bubble, like when you chew bubble gum, and then you blow it, and it's bigger and bigger. So this is their imagination, that from out of the singularity there blew up this universe, which popped out. And some of them speculate that some long point in the future the universe may again collapse into a singularity. So this is as far as they can go with their own mental speculation. avyakta. This is definitely inconceivable. Avyakta means inconceivable, inexplicable. So this conception of a singularity. If you can believe in that, then you might as well believe in God too. Because it is a similarly fantastic idea. There's no justification for such a belief in our experience. We don't see things suddenly popping out of tiny, inconceivably small points in space. So, yes, avyakta, inexplicability. So, but Krishna here is described as the avyakta mula. Prabhupada gives the example of the roots of a tree. A very nice example. The cosmos, Krishna in the 15th chapter, this universe, he compares to a tree. And he says the roots are upward, because the tree of this universe is a reflection. So therefore, like a reflection of a tree on the bank of the river, it is upside down. Krishna says the roots are upward, and their origin, these roots cannot be traced out. They're avyakta, inexplicable to us. As we see the trees growing here in Stockholm, you can see the trunk, you can see the branches, but you cannot see the roots. That doesn't mean that there's no root. Simply we cannot see. So Krishna is the avyakta mula. He is the root of everything. Beyond this inexplicable screen of our own ignorance. That's really all this avyakta is our own ignorance. So Krishna, he exists eternally as the root, as the avyakta murti, as the form beyond this inexplicability. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, that Brahmano hi pratishtaham. As far as those who speculate on impersonal Brahma as being the origin of everything, he says, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. I am the basis of that impersonal Brahma. I am the root, or I am the foundation of that, my personal form. And so, Krishna's original transcendental form, as we were explaining last night, is the root cause of all other forms. Indeed, there are countless forms of Krishna himself, expansions of Krishna himself, which emanate from Krishna's original transcendental form as Shyamsundar, the most beautiful boy, who is being described here in these verses. So, how can we conceive of Krishna's form? It's not possible. Krishna's form must be revealed to us. Like the immediate form of the Lord from which this universe comes out is Lord Mahavishnu. Now Lord Mahavishnu is an expansion of Sankarsana. Sankarsana is an expansion of Lord Narayan. Lord Narayan is an expansion of Lord Vasudeva. And Lord Vasudeva is an expansion of Krishna. So here we have an expansion of an expansion of an expansion. So, but Lord Vishnu, although he's called Kala, Kala means a rather minor expansion. A rather minor expansion of Krishna compared to other expansions. Kind of lesser expansion. Nonetheless, Lord Mahavishnu is completely inconceivable to us. We cannot imagine a form, a personal form so great that the universe has come streaming out of the pores. And with every outgoing breath, and within the with the ingrowing breath, all these universes, countless millions of universes, they enter again into the body of Mahavishnu and are dissolved there. You can't imagine that the entire existence span of this cosmos, our lifespan is like a flash within the span of this cosmos. This cosmos, according to Vedic explanation, is 320 trillion years. This is the entire lifespan of Lord Brahma. And his lifespan is divided up into days, each one of which is more than 4 billion years, solar years in length. Now the scientists, they speculate that the universe, this Earth, came into being 4 billion years ago. But the Vedas say, no, that's 4 billion years, that's just the extent of one day of Brahma. And Brahma lives for 100 years of such days. And yet that whole incredibly long period of time is just one breath of Mahavishnu. The whole universe is coming out and going back in again, in one span of breath of Mahavishnu. And moreover, Srila Prabhupada explained that Lord Mahavishnu, he's sleeping in Yoga Nidra, breathing out and breathing in these universes. And as he's sleeping, he's dreaming. And these dreams are the events that are taking place within the universes, which we are accepting as being reality. So this is certainly inconceivable. And that's only this very near expansion of Krishna, Mahavishnu, from whom this universe is coming. So, the nature of Krishna's form must simply be accepted by us. It is not possible by mental speculation to arrive at the proper understanding of Krishna. So the Vedas reveal, the Vedic literatures reveal that Lord Krishna, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadam, Anantarupam, Adyam, Purana, Purusham, Lavayogam, Vedeshur, Dulam, Adulam, Atmavatyam, Govindam, Adi, Purusham, Tamaham, Jami. So this form of Krishna, first of all, it is Advaita. Advaita means literally one without a second. One without a second. The form of Krishna is original and unparalleled. And everything else in existence is simply a quality. It can be taken as a quality of Krishna's original form. Even his own expansions, like Mahavishnu, can be understood in this way. This is an aspect or quality of the original Krishna. And even we, jivas, living entities, we are also qualities, very tiny, infinitesimal aspects of this one, Advaita form of Krishna. So, there are those who seize upon this word Advaita, oneness. They take it to mean that everything is one without distinction, that we're all God. But that is not valid. Just like here, I can hold up this paper, and I can say this paper is, I suppose it's a blue color, somewhere between blue and green. But anyway, to make it simple, let's say blue. This napkin is blue. So, the napkin is one thing. Now, anyone with a brain can understand that this statement, the napkin is blue, it's not an absolute statement of equality. That blue, that we can say conversely, blue is the napkin. That won't make any sense. That means this girl here is also wearing this napkin, if we say that blue is napkin because she has a blue sweater. So, but obviously there's a difference between a blue sweater and this napkin. You cannot say, you're arguing on grammar, napkin is blue. So that means blue and napkin are the same, identical in every way. It's not possible. But this is what the Mayavadis try to do. Everything is a quality of Krishna. You see, but that doesn't mean that everything is Krishna. So the blueness is a quality of the napkin. And that way we can understand the relationship. So this is the true meaning of Advaita. That Krishna is one and original. And everything else is also one with him in the sense of being as a quality. The quality of this original form of the absolute truth. So Advaitam, Achyutam. Achyuta means that, this is the name of Krishna, it means that Krishna is infallible. He's perfect. We are certainly fallible. We have fallen down into this material world. We may foolishly take, as again Mayavadi philosophers do, that to be personal is to be imperfect, because we have only experience of imperfect personality. We, in our present personal form, we are ridden with imperfections. But Krishna, no, you see, that's the difference between material form and the original spiritual form. Krishna is Achyuta. He is perfect, infallible. Anadi, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi. And this is the point being made here in this verse also. Krishna has no beginning other than himself. Avyaktamula, Prabhupada said, means that he is self-sufficient. He is his own support. Don't look behind Krishna for something else. Don't speculate in this way. I remember many years ago meeting one young man who was speculating that, well, you are worshipping Krishna as God, but I believe that Krishna worships someone else as God. And then that someone else worships someone else as God. And this way it goes infinite. This is just speculation. And the conclusion of such speculation is, again, you see, when you break it down, it becomes impersonalism. That there's no absolute personal truth at all. It's just an endless sequence of one person worshipping a greater person, but never coming to perfection. Never coming to an absolute end. So what is the absolute end of this? And it's the background of impersonalism. So this is just another futile attempt at using one's own tiny brain to trace out the origin of everything and bumping into the impersonal screen of one's own ignorance. But very unfortunately, this person has tried to drag down Lord Krishna into the mess, into the sewers of his own speculations. This is very offensive. One wants to speculate, then speculate about other things, but don't speculate about Krishna. So anyway, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi. Krishna is without beginning. Don't look behind Krishna for someone else or something else to explain why Krishna is existing. Well, Krishna is self-existent. Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Ananta Rupa. And although Krishna has a form, as we've been explaining, don't think that this form means limitation, as our form means limitation. Because our form is a form of Maya. I said last night to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati once gave a definition of the word Maya as meaning that which is measurable. So this body that we have is a body formed of Maya because it is measurable. It has its length, it has its breadth. And beyond that, this material form does not go. In this way it is distinguished from all other forms because of its own limitation. But Krishna's form is Ananta. It is endless. It is absolute form of absolute consciousness. All other forms are included within this original absolute form. Adyam Purana Purusham. This is very interesting. Krishna is Adi. Adyam means he is the original. The original. Purana means the oldest. The original and oldest Purusha, person. So there are other religions which accept God as the original and oldest person, and they depict God as an old man. Long beard, long white beard, wrinkled, and very grumpy also, like old men can become. Very easily angered. And he throws the thunderbolt. So, but the Brahma Samhita says, Anyam Purana Purusham Navayogamancha. Although Krishna is the original, the oldest person, he is Navayoga. He is an eternal, youthful, young boy. Navayoga, youth. Ever new youth. So, Vedeshu Durlabham. And it is very difficult to understand Krishna simply by scholarship of the Vedas. The Vedas present Krishna to us. But if one tries to understand simply by scholarship, simply by the words of the Vedas, and nothing more, then it's very difficult to understand Krishna. In his Vedanta Sutra commentary, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan has described two kinds of persons who have knowledge from the Vedas. One he calls Brahmanishta and the other Brahmavit. So Brahmanishta, Nishta means faith. This person has firm faith in the statements of the Vedas. This Brahma refers to the Shabda Brahma, the sound vibration of the Vedas. So he's Brahmanishta. He has firm faith in the statements of the Vedas, but his understanding, his perception of the Vedic message is in terms of words. So his position, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan says, is like that person who knows that honey is sweet from the words. He knows, having learned, that there is something called honey. And he knows from the words that it is sweet. So if someone asks him, what is honey? What is the quality of honey? He will correctly answer, honey is sweet. That's as far as he knows. The words. So actually it's very difficult to understand Krishna in this way. Understanding Krishna means really Brahmavit. To have direct perception. I used last night the word apta. Apta means one who is speaking Vedic knowledge that he is actually realized. The words of such a realized soul are considered as good as the Vedas. They are themselves Vedic statements because they are realized. Whereas one who is not realized, he should always quote the Veda. He cannot speak, as they say, extemporaneously. He cannot just speak from his own realization because he doesn't have realization. If he tries to do that, he will just speculate something. So Brahmavid is one who tastes the sweetness of honey. Now as far as what the two, Brahma Nishta or Brahmavid, will say to others, that will be the same. And what can you say if you have honey is sweet to another person who hasn't tasted honey? But the Brahmavid, he is tasting the honey. So you see, that is what is required to actually know Krishna. So Vedeshur Durlabham. It is very difficult to come to full knowledge of Krishna simply by scholarship of the Vedas. But Adurlabham Atma Bhakta. It is easy to know Krishna through the process of Atma Bhakti, pure devotion of the soul. It is by this pure devotion of the soul that one can actually directly taste the sweetness of Vairagya. So these words, these descriptions in the Srimad Bhagavatam are meant to be tasted. They're not meant to be food for mental speculation. It's not that we should read these words and think of them as symbols for something else. We try to imagine in our little brain what in the world these words could really mean, what they could really symbolize. No, they're actually meant to be tasted, as honey is meant to be tasted. So first of all, accept the words, the descriptions in the Bhagavatam as they are. Honey is sweet. Simple enough. So similarly, the Lord's waist is covered with yellow cloth, resembling the saffron dust of the flower. So just accept it. Don't speculate. The waist must mean the Milky Way or something in outer space. The dust must mean the stars. That's not required. That will get you nowhere. So first of all, accept the description as it is. And then we must actually come to the point of tasting. Because this is what Bhagavatam is really meant for the devotees to taste. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was staying at Puri with his intimate disciples, headed by Srila Sarup Damodar Goswami, this was their main engagement, was tasting the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his intimate disciples used to discuss Bhagavatam, but not in any speculative, merely curious way, but actually they were tasting the nectar of these verses, because they are tasting directly Krishna. The Bhagavatam is the sound incarnation of Krishna. So in this sampradaya is called the Rupanuga Sampradaya. We are following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Prabhupada said, of the 6 Goswamis who were principal disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whom he empowered, the significance of the 6 Goswamis among the followers of Lord Chaitanya is that they were empowered, they were ordered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish the foundation of this Krishna consciousness movement by compiling all the knowledge of Krishna from the Vedas and that which Lord Chaitanya directly revealed, compiling that in authoritative works. Nana Shastra Karanam. You sing that song before reading Nectar of Devotion. How the 6 Goswamis, how Srila Rupa Goswami, the 6 Goswamis, they gathered together from all Vedic references. Sabdharma, the science of the eternal religion of Krishna consciousness. There is so much information in the Vedas, so much of it which is not pertaining to the absolute truth. So they went through the Vedas and extracted that knowledge which directly pertains to Krishna. So in this way they established the foundation, the philosophical foundation of the Krishna consciousness movement. And moreover, in Vrindavan they established the principal holy places. Vrindavan is the headquarters, along with Mayapur, Sridham Mayapur, is the headquarters of this Krishna consciousness movement. And when we go to Vrindavan, we enter that holy Dham simply by the mercy, simply by the grace of the 6 Goswamis, who ever protect the holy Dham. And we visit the places of Krishna's pastimes that are revealed only by the mercy of the 6 Goswamis. So in this way, the 6 Goswamis established the foundation of this Krishna consciousness movement, of this international society of Krishna consciousness, on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of the 6 Goswamis, Srila Rupa Goswami is the leader. Even though he's the younger brother of Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami is the spiritual master of the other Goswamis. So why is it that Rupa Goswami is considered to be the leader nonetheless? Because, as Prabhupada said, Srila Sanatana Goswami was the expert spiritual master, and Srila Jiva Goswami was the foremost philosopher. But Srila Rupa Goswami, he tasted the nectar. And this is the essential qualification for becoming Krishna conscious. We may not be great philosophers. We may not be very expert in the discipline which Sanatana Goswami laid down as spiritual master. He compiled this Hari Bhakti Vilas, which lays down all the rules and regulations, ritualistic principles of Vaishnavism. Srila Prabhupada once said that if I told you all the rules and regulations that Vaishnavas are expected to follow, you would faint. So it's likely that we are not able to either become great philosophers or great followers of intricate rules and regulations. But by the grace of Srila Rupa Goswami, we can taste the nectar. And therefore, Rupa Goswami was heralded as the leader of all the Goswamis by Sanatana Goswami himself. There's that very nice pastime of Rupa Goswami's writing one beautiful description of Srimati Radharani, in which he compared her hair and her braid to a cobra. So when Srila Sanatana Goswami read this, he had doubts that this is a very proper description. So he said to Rupa Goswami that I think that this is perhaps not the best comparison to draw a link between Srimati Radharani's hair and her braid and that of a deadly poisonous snake, like a cobra. So Rupa Goswami, he was very humble, and he wanted to accept this advice from his older brother. But of course, in his heart, this was very troublesome for him, because he was writing what was revealed from within. But being a very humble Vaishnava, devoted servant of Srila Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, then he accepted. So then Sanatana Goswami went, he left Rupa Goswami and went on his way through Vrindavan. And along the way he saw some young girls, village girls, cowherd girls, who live in Vrindavan. When you visit Vrindavan today, you will see the Brajvasis. So he saw some young girls, teenage girls. They were playing. together, laughing, singing. And he looked closer and he saw that one girl, on her back there was a cobra. It was coiling up her back, and the hood of the cobra was right over her head. And so in great alarm he was calling, "Mata, look out, you have a cobra on your back." And she turned and smiled. He saw that she was most beautiful. And then she disappeared. And then he understood, I'd just seen Srimati Radharani. And so when he saw Rupa Goswami again, he said, "Rupa Goswami, although officially I am your guru, the fact is you are my guru. Because your realization of Shri Radha and Krishna is so deep. Because you have such profound relish, profound taste for their qualities and pastimes, that they're always showing you extra special mercy. In this way, Sanatana Goswami glorified the blood of Goswami. So this is Rupanuga Sampradaya. That our hope for becoming Krishna conscious is in this, that we develop a taste for hearing and chanting about Krishna, for reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and for serving the deity, for associating with devotees, for with all the aspects of this Bhakti Yoga process. We must simply develop a taste, an attraction, an attachment for it. And by that attachment, that taste, then one is blessed by Krishna's mercy. Krishna, he is drawn to the loving sentiments, the sincere and pure loving sentiments of his devotee. He is very inclined to shower his mercy upon that devotee. He may be simple, and he may be not a very intellectual person, but if he has some loving feeling, some sincere taste for hearing and chanting and remembering, serving Krishna, and Krishna is very inclined to shower his mercy upon that devotee. So now, but what does it really mean to be Rupanuga? There are those unfortunate persons, sahatyas, who think that it's all just a matter of emotion. They will dress up in some loincloth, like the Goswamis did, and they will make display of false renunciation. And they will exhibit false emotions of love of Krishna, rolling on the ground, forcing tears to come to the eyes, and acting in different ways, choked up voice and trembling and all these things. And they think this is Krishna consciousness. There are many, many, many persons in India who actually believe, because they have learned from their guru that this is Krishna consciousness. They've never even heard that there's any other way to practice Vaishnava Dharma than this Sahajya way. So that is their misfortune. But we should not, in this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, try to import that same misfortune into our ranks. Actually, this taste that we're speaking of does not come from some imitative, emotional conjuring trying to churn up one's emotions. This is not the method. Srila Prabhupada explained the method. It's very simple. We are on this sadhana bhakti platform. There are two platforms, two basic platforms of devotional service. There's the Vaidhi Marg and the Raga Marg. So Vaidhi Marg means the path, Marga means path, of Vidhi. Vidhi means following rules and regulations, which are presented in the scriptures. And Raga means attachment. Raga Marg, the path when one actually has this taste, this attraction to Krishna. But we are on the Vaidhi Marg. So in Vaidhi Marg, our devotion to Krishna, our sincerity in devotion is seen in our adherence to the rules and regulations, to the regulatory principles, to the temple schedule, to the daily chanting of 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra per day, to the taking of Krishna Prasad and no other food stuff, to the engagement of the body and mind in Krishna's service and no other activities. This is regulation. So the taste or the attraction to Krishna at our stage is seen in this. Now some people, they think, well, but this is not really attraction to Krishna. This is just following a schedule. There are many. These persons who have this sahajya tendency. This is their attitude. You're just following some schedule. Anyone can put a schedule on the wall. Even karmis do it. And they get up at a certain time and they do this and they do this and they do this. So what does that have to do with love of Krishna? But the fact is that to follow a schedule, to take the trouble to get up early in the morning, and to perform different activities in a regulated fashion every day, there must be some motivation for that. And karmis are doing it because, as Prabhupada said, they take money to be the honey. Money is the honey. So therefore, they get up in the morning and take shower, some of them. There's only a few of them. And they perform all their morning duties before the sun comes up. And then they go out and crowd into a bus